Okay, this is our introduction to EDUC 408, which is teaching reading to students with special needs. So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of go over the course and how it looks and how to navigate to make sure everybody's okay on those things. The landing page for this week will be the start here. After this week, I will move it to the content module, so when you open up 408, it'll go straight to the content modules. You won't have to kind of go back and forth. But there are steps here for you to go through. Make sure you read the course syllabus, which I'm going to go over in just a second, and the course calendar. We will be using a lot of VoiceThread for this class, so make sure you have been through those tutorials if you have not used VoiceThread before, because that blue submit assignment button seems to be an issue for some people, so make sure you're clear on how to do that. Zoom, we will hold Zoom meetings as needed, especially if there's a big assignment coming up and we need clarification or more instruction. I will also do them on a one-on-one basis. So just let me know if you're struggling in an area or with something, and we can do a Zoom meeting. Or, of course, you can always come to my office, too. But you'll see over here in the navigation menu, it's pretty self-explanatory. I try to make everything pretty easy to find. All of your assignments are going to be found here in the content modules. We'll have a couple of discussion boards where they're really going to be used as peer review, a place where we'll post our peer reviews for some papers. We do have a few group assignments, so you'll find your groups here. You should also be able to find them I guess it's you'll probably be able to find yours here. And then this place here, the course syllabus, course calendar, those are both Google Docs. So if anything changes, I make those changes there. So you'll always be up to date with whatever's going on with that. I will post announcements probably a couple of times for each module, depending on when their due dates are, to try to remind you anything else comes up, those kinds of things. So check that often. You can also find your grades here. You can send an email to me or any of your classmates through this. And then there's some help here. I know my screen looks a little bit different than yours, but generally you should have that information. So let's look at the course syllabus real quick. The main thing on the syllabus here is my telephone number. This is my office number. If you need me, the best way to get in contact with me, that will probably be through my cell phone. I do text, so just make sure when you send me a text, tell me who you are and what class you're in, because I have 6 classes this semester. So if you say, hey, I need help with an assignment, that could be a number of people. So just make sure you tell me who you are. I am in 408. This is Hannah, and I need your help, you know, that kind of thing. Also, my office in Teacher Ed at 3142. Most of you have been there. You may not have been to my office, but I am there. I have office hours, face-to-face office hours from 12 to 3 on Tuesday and Thursdays if you're on campus. I am generally on campus 4 days a week. But I have a lot of meetings and other things, and they vary from time. So technically Monday, Wednesday, Friday is by appointment. So if you can't meet with me on Tuesday, Thursday. I also have to do practicum, so I'll be out in school, and those hours vary too. But I can always meet with you via Zoom, and those hours, you know, here we are meeting at 8:30 at night, but I figured most everybody would be done with class tonight. If they had an opportunity to meet, they could. I'm not going to read the course description or course outcomes. You can do those. But those course outcomes, these are the major ones that you should be able to do by the end of this semester. There's some program outcomes. You can look over this course view. This kind of tells you what 408 is, how it's set up. You will need the textbook. It's kind of a dry textbook, but it has a lot of information in there. So there's a lot of extra activities and things in this textbook you may find useful later on that we don't necessarily have time to go over. You could really make this textbook like go across a whole entire year. I also have some suggestion for some reading of some other things, and these are more for that secondary folks. So if you're in middle school or high school and you have students who are struggling readers, you have to approach things a little bit differently. We don't teach reading to a ninth grader the same way as we do a kindergartner. And those books are geared towards those folks. So if you find yourself in that situation, you may want to look at those authors that have some really good books. Your technical requirements here are your course grades, kind of an idea of what our assignments will be. I may have to add a couple more that I've added in here that I hadn't quite got listed. Well, I may have got them all in there. I redid 408 this summer, so there's some things that I changed, but for the better. Here is your grading scale, so make sure you note that a 92 is an A. In here, late policy, everything is ahead of time. You should know all your due dates, so and especially since it's an online class, I will not accept any late work. So make sure everything is turned in. And generally, you have 2 weeks for each module, so you should have plenty of time, but don't wait till, you know, Sunday at 11 p.m. to decide to start working on your stuff. You won't have enough time. Here's the normal stuff that y'all can read on your own. We don't have to have that. And then let's get out of here. Look at the fun stuff. Course calendar. I have a dog knocking on the door. It's either scratching, knocking, trying to get in. Okay, so this first week on Friday, most everything is going to be due on Sunday, except for this first little module here. This is just your introduction. So make sure you go on VoiceThread, post your introduction, and then view your classmates, introduce yourself to them, especially try to find someone that maybe you haven't had class with and try to get to know them virtually if you can. But this needs to be done by Friday. And then technically this first module, it's already open and you can start on it, but you have 2 weeks, so it's not due till September 9th. But this is kind of the topic, what chapter you should be reading, and I will have all your assignments and quizzes listed here too. They're also within the each module, as you'll see in just a minute. But you can see this first module kind of covers chapter 1 and chapter 2, and there is a week apart, I think. So you have the 9th and then the 16th. This is a big assignment here, this phonings test. It is actually going to be your TK20 assignment that we will post in there. As soon as, I don't know when she'll get those sent out. It may be a few days after the fact, but that's okay. We'll deal with that as it comes. And we may have to have another meeting this week to go over this, the phonings a little more in detail. Then we'll get to Module 2, and it's almost a month for Module 2, as you can see. And here's your assignments here. This will also be the first, you'll have a paper due, but you have to do a peer review first, and then you'll turn in your paper. And then there's a specific date on the peer review, which I'll show you in a few minutes. I don't have it on here, but it's on the discussion board. Like, it needs to be turned in prior so you have time to review, and then you have time to make your changes before you submit your final. And then you'll have a group case study, and by that time I will have named the leaders for each of the groups, and you'll be kind of in charge of your group to get everybody to come together to figure out how to do this assignment. You can meet via Zoom just like we are. There's Blackboard Collaborate. You can meet face-to-face, through email, however. Then you've got midterms here, and then we'll start Module 3. You'll be doing fluency, and then our Reading Horizons workshop, which is an online separate workshop outside of Blackboard that you'll have to go through. But you see those due November 4th. Then we have the Module 4, which covers vocabulary. As you'll see, these are the 5 essentials of reading. Each of these modules are broke down into that. And then more assignments here, tests, and so forth, and then your final exam. And we'll just take a look at these modules real quick. So when you click on the content module, everything is listed just like you saw on the course calendar. It's pretty easy to follow. These are not open, so you should only see module 1, and then the second module will open up as it gets a little bit closer. I have some folks who like to work ahead, but then they get really panicky when they see all the work when they look ahead. So I leave them closed for a little while because you still have quite a bit of time for this one. So when you look in module 1, here's our introduction, which is due by Friday. You'll go into chapter 1, and then here's our chapter 2. This also is how you can submit that to make sure you submit correctly, which I will be sending. You may get an email from VoiceThread saying that your assignment's not been submitted. That means you've not hit that blue submit assignment. And that's the only way I can email you and tell you that. So make sure if you get an email, then you have not submitted your assignment. And as you go through and you look at each of the modules, I give you the objectives. I kind of give you a checklist, like here's the things that you need to do. For every chapter, I have a VoiceThread lecture. So there's me talking, and then there's a PowerPoint. There are lots of supplemental videos. I usually try to post a few of those for you to watch, and then there's usually some other type of activity and a quiz. Now your quiz, you can use your book and notes for. These chapters are really, really long, and I don't expect you to remember everything by heart, but make sure you take notes and things like that as you go through those, before you take those quizzes. Let's see here. Let's look at chapter 2 real quick. This is where you're going to have your phonemes test here. You will actually watch this video. This video gives you those phoneme sounds, and that's kind of what you'll duplicate. In your phonemes test here, I tell you exactly what to put on each slide, and then you'll actually go through and articulate those phoneme sounds. So I'll be grading you on those sounds. And then they also have a rubric here. And then you will post this onto TK20. You'll actually, on the front title, after you've already made your VoiceThread, you'll then copy that link and put it on the front title of your PowerPoint, and then submit that to TK20. TK20 hosts the rubric, so I'll have like your phonemes test on 1 through VoiceThread, and then I'll have your rubric, and then I'll actually grade your rubric through TK20, so you can go back to TK20 and look at your rubric grade. But I do comment on there to let you know which sounds you miss if you miss one. And here again, another IRIS module, and then a quiz. And it's kind of the same thing throughout. I do want to show you the discussion. So let me get to, no, here is our first discussion. So in this one, I give you some information here on how to do some research and do Google Scholar and what APA may look like, because this will be the first paper that we'll actually do. So I have here that you are going to post your draft by Sunday, September 23rd, and then you need to provide feedback to a classmate by Wednesday, September 26th. Now, if you decide to do a student, send them a note saying, I'm going to review your paper. That way another student doesn't pick theirs up and review it too, and then someone gets left out. So if you decide I'm going to, Hannah, you're going to do Lauren, just post a note on Lauren's and say, hey, I'm going to review yours. And it may take you a day or two, but then someone else sees that someone's already reviewing that, so they'll pick someone else's. Otherwise, we kind of get into a little trouble of 2 people reviewed and then someone gets left out. So you'll have that review posted by Wednesday, and then they have time to make any changes because our final draft will be due that Sunday. So it gives you quite a bit of time to get that done. Here's the directions. That's where you'll post your rough draft, and this is where you'll post your final. Some more videos to watch, and then you've got a chapter 3 test, and then you actually, I think, one more, and then you'll have your final. I mean midterm, not final. But you'll see in the discussion, so this is our brain base, so you'll just go in here, create a thread, and just post it, as a Word document, and so forth. And you do get points for that. It's not a lot, but you do get some. Last thing is the groups. So we have 3 different groups, 3 different group assignments, and they are all the IRIS module case studies. I used to make you do those on your own. Now that you do them as a group. And there is you'll see later on, hang on, let's see here. I think chapter 4 was that first group. Okay, so here's like a format of how you'll do it. I will assign, like I said, a leader. I will post that in the announcements, who's going to be the leader of each of the groups. You also have to do a partner rubric, and I piloted this summer, and it went over really, really well. So you will actually fill out a rubric on your group members, on how well they did. Because I hear more so than not, someone doesn't necessarily pull their fair share in a group. Well, now you at least have a way of expressing that in a formal document that you will email to me. So if your partner does great, you'll just load it on there and say, you know, I think I'll pull it up. It's a real quick one. They work, you know, they got a 5, they got a 5, they got a 5. And, you know, it's a real simple one. Or if they didn't, if they were negative or they didn't help out, wouldn't cooperate, you have a real easy way of letting me know. And everybody has to fill that out. So, and then you'll have to send those by email. Trying to think what else. And it's kind of the same thing through here on your exams. I do give you a practice exam for the midterm because your the other exam, your midterm is 60 minutes, and I think your final, I give you, it may be 60 minutes, or I may give you 120 minutes. I can't remember. But you do have a practice, and you can take that as many times as you want. It kind of will cycle through all the questions at some point. You may have to take it, you know, 4 or 5 times. But you do have that option. And you have a whole week to do that midterm. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, it's 60 minutes too. I couldn't remember. I think it's my law class. They've got a 2-hour one. Okay. That's kind of, and then the module 4 and 5, it's all very similar and set up the same way. So do you guys have any questions? No questions. Whoops, I think they hopped out. Okay, well, if you don't have any questions, that's it for this week. I will, like I said, just keep checking the announcements. At any time you have any questions or struggling, please send me an email. Please let me know. It's better to catch it early rather than late. All right, well, that's it, girls. I'm going to stop sharing that. And hang on, I got to figure out how to stop.